Obviously, there's multiple methods of deploying fiber, right? That's great, right? And that's the decision every community needs to make. Again, they're all excellent models. Hey, I'd like to see all the communities do something and try to find a solution that makes sense for them.
Welcome to another episode of the Community Broadband Bits podcast. I'm Christopher Mitchell at the Institute for Local Self-Reliance in St. Paul, Minnesota. And today I'm speaking with two folks that are doing a pretty special project down in Texas, and not just in Texas, but one of the southernmost reaches of Texas, where I'm sure it's much hotter there today than it is in my hometown. I'm speaking with Jose Pena, who is the IT director at the city of Pharr in Texas. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. We are very excited, and we love to talk about what we're doing, and we hope to eventually enlighten and show other communities what we're doing, and hopefully we can be a model that if they like our concept of our project, can follow up with questions, and we're open to work with anybody.
That's wonderful. I think people are going to want to follow up with you on this when they get a sense of how this project is not just sort of a standard project, if there is one in the municipal space, but is quite unique. We also have the project manager on the show, who is Guillermo Aguiar, who is a partner at Brownstone Consultants. And like I said, he doesn't actually work for the city, but he's a project manager. And I'm sure they call it Team Pharr, and I'll bet he's considered to be a strong member of the team. So welcome to the show, Guillermo.
Thank you so much, Christopher. We are honored to be a part of this project, and seeing how Pharr has taken the leadership, not just in South Texas, but as the word gets out, as Jose goes to these national conferences and shares the Team Pharr story, and that of our region, which traditionally is one of the most underserved regions of the United States. Again, we've provided what we think is, we've just built a better mousetrap, right? And it's exciting to share our story. So thank you again.
Yes, my colleague Deanne is in San Antonio, and she often speaks of the areas around there as lacking service. I know that there's talk about rural areas around you, although Pharr itself has a lot of folks, 80,000 people. You have that major bridge that connects you to Mexico and brings, I saw in one of your videos, all that produce that probably I'm eating today. In the Midwest. And so you're a sizable town, but you are not well connected, and there's many rural areas around you. I like to just sort of throw that out there so you don't have to, but what other details should we know, Jose, about your area as we start to describe what you're doing?
Again, you touched on the underserved area. Us as a region here in South Texas, the Digital Inclusion Alliance report, I believe, came out 2019 that found the city of Pharr as the number one worst connected city in the country, but our neighbors next door actually made the top 5 or top 10 as well. We have Harlingen here next door to us, as well as the city of Bronzeville, which everybody knows now because of SpaceX being there in town. But we now all have started broadband initiatives, and it's one of those things where it's been wonderful that the city of Pharr actually can say was one of the first ones who started pursuing this and actually are implementing. And, as we speak, we're actually already installing customers. So it's great to see us move forward as a community and be able to help our residents.
Now, you mentioned, and I've heard it in a couple of places, that ranking as you being one of the worst connected cities in that study motivated you. But I think you even had this rising up as an issue. I think your mayor may have made it a priority even before then, right?
Correct. Ever since our mayor got elected, I believe in 2015, that was one of his priorities. He wanted to solve the homework gap and be able to put everybody in a level playing field education-wise, because that's something he pushes a lot. Education. It's working with our EDC. They had started a project. They had already started working with the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas and some other school districts and nonprofit organizations. Actually had gotten our feasibility study, I believe, in 2017, which is around the time I came on board. And, that helped us identify our gaps in our areas. And since then, we had started a pilot project, and our EDC and our city invested money in procuring equipment, and we were able to deliver internet to 50 homes to start our pilot project, which we then worked on, and we could see the improvement with our students who, again, were the homes that we targeted on their improvement. So, it was something we had started since 2017, 2018, and then COVID happened, and that just kind of moved us forward on we had to do more, right? And we had to move, how do we get to a full-scale production project?
Can I ask about the pilot project? It's one of those things that I feel like non-technical people are like, oh, well, let's just do a pilot. One of the challenges that we've heard from more technical people is that you have a lot of costs that are expected to be shared by hundreds or thousands of users, and if you're just going to do that for 50 people, it can be kind of not economical. So, how did you make that work?
I would say we didn't spend too much money. At least, back in those days, I mean, equipment wasn't as expensive and as a scarce resource as supply is nowadays. But, we worked with a local wireless architect here in our region who helped us implement it through a wireless connectivity. So we had a base station installed at our fire department that we had in that area of south part of town, South Pharr. We put those antennas there. And then the homes had another receiving antenna, which then got wired to a modem with wireless inside their home. I want to say we probably at most spent $80,000 to $90,000 and deployed all this equipment between the towers and the homes. But again, it was still wireless connectivity. We are probably getting about 25 megabits to the house, but at least there was service delivering it inside the home, which is, what we're trying to target. But even with that, we found the pros and cons with everything, right? Wireless connectivity, is not as strong as a signal as we'd like. And, but it was a great start. And we actually followed that concept of our antennas. And we then deployed a public safety community park project, which we used the same technology and deployed it to other towers. And we're able to deliver wireless coverage at all our city parks. And we also installed surveillance cameras for safety around all the gathering areas of city parks, as well as installed emergency call boxes. And that was another great initiative that we were able to provide using the same concept of wireless communication with towers. But we knew that wasn't a long-term as far as to deliver a high quality service to a home. We know we had to be hardwired, and we looked at options. But again, once COVID happened, we wanted to be able to move forward, but make the best decision possible, not just a quick fix or something for the short term. We wanted a long-term solution. And, in reviewing all the different options, that's where we got to where the model that we're following. It was very, very good learning experience, and it did help a lot of families. And we can kind of see with some of those videos we've published, it was a wonderful experience.
Well, I think there's the technical issue that you certainly faced, and then also a legal issue in Texas. And I think, Guillermo, you might want to come in on this one too. But I'm curious, when you first started thinking about going down this route, I suspect Mont Belvieu had been being built, and so you had a sense that some cities in Texas had the authority. But there's a widespread belief that the law is stronger in Texas in terms of outlawing broadband. It certainly seems to outlaw some telecommunications services. But I'm just curious, how did you grapple with that, and was that a concern at all?
Just learning about all this stuff, we did work, like I said, with our EDC and with our local school district, which is how we were communicating through our, in that initial pilot study, which is working with them, getting the list of students who were low income qualifiers so that we could target their homes to provide them the service. But and when we fully started looking at our long term, that's when we really started looking at what's the feasibility of this being done. And that's when, again, when Brownstone was on board, and when we're finalizing and working with our engineering group that actually came and partnered with us to do the engineering design, that's who then they referred us, and we heard of Mont Belvieu. Mont Belvieu had really great people there. They're very welcoming, and I actually visited their town last year. We wanted to know, hey, what are we getting into, right?
Hmm.
Hey, what is this? Our city offering internet services and building a call center and deploying fiber to the home. We visited them. They're very welcoming. We're able to go and schedule and participate in a site visit installation, and we learned a lot from them. They were able to also help push that barrier down in regards to the court rulings that, in Texas, broadband is considered a utility, and not a telecommunication service, has helped us. And that's paved the way for other municipalities to be able to move forward and consider options. And again, there's lots of different models
Hmm.
of deploying a network and helping your communities. We basically did follow the Mont Belvieu standard, which is a full service, fully maintained, run, and operated network owned by the city.
So the only thing I'd like to add to that is I don't think we can say enough about how much Mont Belvieu helped us. You have a gentleman who was a former Navy SEAL, as city manager, just used to breaking paradigms, doing things that people say is not possible. So they really spearheaded this, in our opinion, my opinion at least. Obviously, Cobb Bentley, the design engineer, had the foresight to bring them on board. And really, again, Dwight Thomas, not enough can be said about him either. Just a brilliant person with respect to network design, and an even better person. So them being so amicable and open and helping us out, that kind of has paved the way and set the standard for Jose and our group to do the same thing and paying it forward. So we're now advising even loosely pro bono on multiple projects, multi-billion-dollar fiber project, which again, I never thought I'd say 8 months ago. But again, those are the type of things that they entrusted in us to pay forward again to others.
Excellent. Yes, and it's really exciting to see, and I can't stress enough that there really are people matter in this. That the way they help each other out, and the way that I see that you're then willing to pay that forward, like you just said, to share with others.
It's all about partnerships, Christopher. The National Broadband Association brought us, took us under their wing. Scott Jackson with Gray Bar, just everybody, Gary Bolton, they've been amazing, put us in contact with the right people. And it's all about that, just good people that are fair businessmen and women that want to do the right thing. And that's what this is all about.
Yes, excellent. So anyway, you're inspired then by this, and you're not sufficiently intimidated, perhaps. So you decide to move forward with a full fiber to the home. I think it's important to note something that you told me, Jose, when we were planning this, which is that because of poverty in the area, all of the schools have a large number of people that use the school and lunch program, and so every household that's attached to the schools then qualifies for the ACP. Was that important for your willingness to take this on?
Definitely. Again, that kind of speaks about the area that we live in. It's an area where we want to be able to work with everybody, and let alone our mayor understands that. Which is why we even started with building and deploying surveys. We thought about different price points, and we surveyed the community, and the price points, everybody favored a particular. That was the most important thing, affordability. Because again, we could have fiber services, but if still half of our population could not afford it, it's like you don't have it, right? And we wanted to get a very affordable price point, which is our EDC and our mayor and our elected officials did a wonderful job. Our 2 residential plans is $25 for 500 megabits up and down, as well as $50 for gigabit up and down. And, and this is before these price points were done before ACP actually came out, which is, from the old EBB plan from last year and then transitioning to ACP this year. It just so happened that, hey, we hit that magic number. And it was wonderful that, now with ACP, that was a project I took on myself, and working with our grants department here in our city, which does an amazing job finding us resources. And, we're able to satisfy all the information that the FCC and ACP required for us to become fully registered city. And it's been great. Just since we've posted that, we've got a lot more feedback. We're able to identify that 6,800 households within our zip code actually already make use of this funding, which is great because, again, we want to continue spreading the message to our community for all the rest who don't know about it, help them qualify. But yes, we do have 3 public school districts within the city boundaries, as well as 2 public charter schools as well. And again, all 5 of these school districts are part of the free school lunch program, and we've started working with them and notifying them as far as helping us relay this information to the parents and facilitating those letters that the parents need in order to sign up for ACP.
When I hear your price point, the first thing I did was think, is that correct? Did I hear that right? That is the most aggressive price point that I've seen in many years in terms of affordability, and I think that's really impressive and needed. And I'm a champion of municipal networks, but many of them have felt that they could not set a price point that low, even if they wanted to. I know that you don't want to get too much into the financials, but when we were talking, you'd mentioned that you're getting some rescue plan money and that's going toward the network, and I assume that that's somewhat helpful in paying off the startup costs, basically, to get the network built out. But I wasn't sure if when I asked you about it, I think you said that you expect that you're going to have so much of a take rate, so many will use the network that you'll be able to make it cash flow even at that rate.
That's correct. And those are the numbers. Like I said, I'm an IT person. I love working the technology aspect, but we have some wonderful individuals throughout our city with our legal, with our EDC, with our city managers, with our finance department. They're experts in their fields, and in working at that price point and the number of customers, and basically because of our price point, be able to bring and help a lot of these families before even ACP was an option for us. For that, it's like we just can't wait to finish as quickly as possible to be able to provide this service to everybody. Because it will help us. It's going to make a really good impact on our education system. It's going to be a really good impact on our commercial businesses. It's going to be a really good impact on our economic situations, where now our residents are able to work from home and work for organizations anywhere in the country that allow remote work. And it's going to help bring more people to town as well, and hopefully our town will flourish and be a lot better off. But again, the numbers, it's one of those things where we have our set number of customers we want to get to, and we also are big with our industrial customers as well. Like you mentioned, we do own and operate an international bridge, and we work with them as well, and we want to be able to supplement our city budget and be able to put more firefighters, more police officers on the streets. We want to be able to build more community parks, which is another initiative our mayor brought, built or doubled or tripled our park space since he's been in office. And, it's just, we want to be able to help the community improve and get better.
To use your words of not sufficiently intimidated. So our mayor, again, is an incredibly dynamic person. He's a physician, childcare, and he the mayorship is almost, and I don't want to say almost like a side gig, but he operates on pediatrics all day long, and then he runs this incredibly dynamic city. So not only are we doing all these things that Jose just talked about, but we went to design in September of last year. We are 70% built out. In this global supply chain environment, with everything, but especially fiber, Corning, and again, Corning's been amazing, but most of the big incumbent providers are not even taking on new clients. Right. So again, it takes a team. It took the gauntlet being thrown by the mayor, the commission, city manager, leadership. Again, Jose's being very, very humble.
Well, are you on the order of like 30,000 premises that you're passing? What's the rough number?
So we need to pass every single home within the city. It's, depending on the count, whether it's multifamily or not, but 22,000 to 30,000, plus every single business as well. Literally, that's the mayor's mandate. I need a handhold in front of every single home and business within pretty much a year.
So for people who or have listened to this show for a while but don't have a sense of that, Longmont, Colorado is a little bit bigger than that. Longmont had a bunch of fiber already in the ground, and they had a 4 to 5 year plan to do what you're doing. And when I was looking at it, I was thinking it was 18 months. I was thinking that's aggressive. To know that you're at 70% now, 1 year later, I feel like we do have to spend a minute talking about Graybar because, we spent the last year talking about material shortages, and I wouldn't have thought this is possible.
The mayor has given us a lot of tough challenges, which the Pharr team has been up to task to meet, whether it be parks, new fire stations, doubling, tripling the bridge traffic internationally. But this was the one that when he said, okay, I want this in 1 year, I for one didn't know where to start. And I thought we need partners. So somebody somehow put us in touch with Graybar. Actually, it was Cobb Bentley. We started to develop a relationship with Scott Jackson and Eddie Shamp, and things just went from there. Again, Scott being on the National Fiber Board, brought all the partners in, and we kind of said, okay, let's show America and the world what we can do, and then we'll just run with that. And as we like to say as the group, let's just run it back. So different counties, cities all around us are now looking at the model and wanting to replicate. So yeah, they've been phenomenal. Corning has 14,000 employees directly across our bridge that do the wiring harnesses, the MOBs, et cetera, et cetera. Those then come across our bridge, go up to Houston, New York, et cetera.
And you steal some of them.
Yeah, so that's basically what we're doing. We're intercepting some of that
holding them hostage for reels of fiber.
Yes, and the beautiful thing is, you might have seen in one of those videos that Graybar and Corning have produced documenting this journey, is we're going to now start kicking fiber back over to Reynosa, which is our sister city, and our goal is eventually to get back to the Corning plants and be able to get ultra high speed to them as well. So that's the big picture vision that the mayor and our commission and city manager came up with.
That's remarkable. And even through that, Jose, let me ask you, Jose, if you want to add anything to that.
Sure. It's really like Guillermo's mentioning, it's really this partnership. We're all in this together. We're all going to succeed together. Nobody knows how to fail between all of us. We all know that, hey, everybody has to be successful together, and we want to be the model. We want to be able to showcase that this can be done. And, it's working with our engineering and with Graybar. As soon as these construction plan sets, high level designs are done, we come up with, they come up with estimated quantity volumes. And, from there, we take it to city commission for buying, procuring all the supply and the material and securing these orders, right? Which is the most important. People want to make sure that, you've issued purchase orders to them and you're going to satisfy and work with them on deliveries. And believe me, we've gotten a lot of our construction material, and there has been some products that had been backlogged, and that product actually now is kicking in massive quantities, which is almost just perfect when the time that we needed to finish the installation of all these neighborhoods. But again, all our partners, who Graybar brought together, it'd be Blue Diamond or Hubble or Precision, Corning, all these different partners that worked with all the solutions, working together with Brownstone and Cobb Bentley and Associates, our engineering group, and at the end of the day, you also have to have the right team together out in the field, which is where STX Underground, our contractor, really has taken this and run with it, right? They're the labor force, they're the ones they're our force multiplier out in the field, Brownstone working with them and making sure everything's getting done. But at the end of the day, it's from point A to point Z, and everybody's got their items to take care of.
What I think is very important, that's maybe not unique to us, but it really shines with this very large group that Jose and I just went through. There's a lot of mutual respect. There is never any screaming and yelling. There is never any pressure. It's just, hey guys, I'm in a bind here. How can you help me with this? Yep. We all get together, huddle up, And it's just, again, it's just beautiful to see this. We've heard horror stories about how stuff goes in the industry at large, or has been at times, with, C-level suite executives yelling at other C-level suite executives. There's none of that here. It's just, again, based on mutual respect, and we all help each other.
Did you have a group that was meeting prior to working on this project? I mean, like, sometimes when I hear that level of just teamwork, it's because the group have been meeting once a month for years to just go over other IT challenges and share problems and that sort of thing. But Guillermo, you're shaking your head. This just came new.
So again, aside from programming in Fortran and some other stuff, C++ 30 years ago in college, again, I dig ditches. That's what I do for a living. I'm a construction manager and a project manager. So, and again, the mayor threw the gauntlet down and said, "Hey, Jose, Guillermo, crew, city manager, you guys have to build this in a year, no excuses," or that's basically the mandate, or I get fired. Very nicely, but that's kind of the level of excellence that the mayor demands of all of us. So again, we just had to scramble and figure out how to make it work. And again, that's just something that's kind of part of that Pharr ethos, is that, again, failure is not an option. We're going to make it no matter what. So no, there was no previous contact, no prior. But again, we started hitting up every event we could. We've been on the road quite a bit, or on the road even more now. Jose is going to be a speaker at the Calix event in Las Vegas pretty soon, here in front of 2,000-3,000 people. And again, that's another one we need to talk about, is Calix. I think later on, just how easy that solution has been. I don't think people understand, as complicated as a network like this is, if you pick the right partners, you use the right equipment, this is almost kind of like a plug and play Lego type thing, where just, voila, it works. And then I think even we were astounded when we first went live on January 20th, 2022.
Right. And to answer that question, no. I mean, it was really the only people internally was, again, myself working with our EDC and with our Director of External Affairs, there with our Office of our Mayor, just looking at, hey, let's come up with options internally, just between us, as to, hey, well, if we do wireless connectivity, well, here's the pros and cons. If we do, middle mile initiative, well, here's the pros and cons, and it'll take us longer and things like that. But when we engaged Brownstone and Cobb Fenley, which were our first two partners for this project, we're like, hey, we're looking either 1 year or 2 year, and it's either going to be in-house or outsourced. We got 4 options, right? And after looking at those, well, we're outsourcing, and as far as our construction is going, and we looked at all the different options, looked at all the different providers, and I think we made some very good decisions, and we're very happy with all our partners, and everybody's being able to deliver product to us. Calix has been amazing to work on, with our systems teams here in our office, and with the equipment, and getting us the products as well. Our network is kind of not complex, but a lot of redundancies built into it. We have a lot of third-party partners who we work with, and everybody puts their 2 cents in regards to, hey, well, what's our point of failure? Okay, how do we satisfy that point of failure to make it, go an extra level, right? Because again, we built this public network. We're also working with Extreme Networks, so they're the foundation with their fabric networking design that is traversing this 100 gig network internally, and then working with Calix to deliver that home use service of delivering it from the data center to everybody's homes, and the solutions that we're able to offer with their Experience IQ and their Protect IQ modules, all at no cost to our constituents. It's been really good. Everybody's been excellent, and it's been great.
So you asked about finances earlier as well. So not only built out in pretty much a year, or slightly delayed beyond a year, but very, very fast, as you well know, for those of you who are not as familiar with the industry, but also the cost. You're incredulous to hear $25 for 500 up and down, 50 for a gig symmetrical. So our pass-through cost per home is significantly under what we see in the rest of the United States. There's been a lot of new projects announced just over the last couple of weeks, and that's kind of one of the things that we do. We automatically calculate the pass through per home cost. Really, really good labor costs, not gouging anybody as far as overhead. Now that people have seen that they can make this $25, $30 model work, now you tie in ACP, and it's basically giving free internet almost to everybody. So the entire region is now trying to follow Pharr's example on that.
Obviously, there's multiple methods of deploying fiber, right? It could be a full public-private partnerships. We've seen and know of other communities pushing, where a third-party private industry is going to come in and they build it out, and that's great, right? And that's the decision every community needs to make. There's others who build an open access network, and then third-party partners will deliver the last mile. And again, they're all excellent models. I say I'd rather see, me as a person in technology, like, hey, I'd like to see all the communities do something and try to find a solution that makes sense for them, right? We did work with our EDC, and we did work with some of the ARPA funding to be able to secure funding for this project. And, that's one of those things that, like I said, we have very smart financial people running our city who were able to make this project work. And that's how we did eventually be able to hit those price points, right? Because we're owning and operating everything in-house. We're not going to be paying other than maintenance fees for the equipment we own to operate and, keep using, but, we're not paying any other fees to anyone else. It's really going to be owned and run by the city, which is, exactly what Mont Belvieu did.
And I was just going to say, and Dwight told me they came in quite below their expected costs of construction as well. So if you can hit that as well, then you're just it's basically home run after home run. Can you give me a sense of what people are saying that are using the network? Is it something that people are really enthusiastic about?
Definitely. It's one of those where, we have a few people who got filmed. So after we came from our conference at the Fiber Broadband Association conference, that's really a couple weeks after that we started, with fully starting to deploy in our first neighborhood, and our media team was able to go out there and talk to a few residents, and is on a video we posted. But the feedback has been really good. They have no issues with it. It's fast. It just works, right? The coverage has been excellent. We installed in a home that for our area, we use a lot of cinder block in homes in the exterior, but this home actually had cinder block walls inside that made the division. It wasn't just sheetrock and 2x4s,
right?
Like additional homes and things like that. But the lady's like, oh yeah, it works throughout my home, and they just have a standard U4 Wi-Fi 6 router, which we provide at no cost, and has no issues with coverage inside our home or outside our home.
With 30 devices latched onto it as well.
Yeah. It's actually one of the very first resident we installed when we ran our very first trial to the home, and we selected that home because that household had 5 kids and going to school. It's one of those where we just hear great things from them. And they do have, like I said, we have some very smart kids here in our area. Our regional education system does very well. I think we're ranked first throughout the different regional education systems here in the state. But again, we hope that this is going to help them get better. And like I said, hopefully build up our region and that others follow. But we've heard great things from everybody.
I'll ask if there's anything else you want to add before we close out the interview. But when last year, it looked like the rescue plan dollars were not going to be as easy to use for broadband solutions, particularly in areas where there may be cable coverage, even if it's unaffordable for most. It was Ramiro Gonzalez and the mayor of Brownsville who we were able to get in touch with through their partners, Lit Communities, who they were really helpful with a coalition among other mayors across the country pushing the White House. And so I'm just so excited. I know they're moving forward with the project. You're moving forward. And I actually, after I spoke with you the other day, Jose, I reached out to some folks in DC to say, I want to let you know that the people who fought to make the changes to make sure that that money would be able to be used by communities like Pharr, they're using it and it's making a difference. And it's really great because sometimes a lot of our shows, we spend time talking about things that are broken, but it's terrific that we're able to take this, this epidemic and pandemic and to make sure that we're getting help out to folks that traditionally have been left behind and to make sure that we can actually build a better future for those kids, make sure that they're getting their education. And so this is really hopeful.
May I highlight one really important stat that the State of Texas Comptroller's Office, the BDO office, which is running all this. So according to their recent studies that were issued week before last, 92% of South Texas is covered by internet of some sort. 42% of Texas as a whole has high speed. South Texas has only 12% high speed internet. Just a very, very, very neglected area with respect to this. So we do appreciate what Lit Communities, what the mayor of Brownsville, what all our advocates have done, and you guys as well, right? I took some time to read through your websites, affiliated websites and whatnot. The outreach that y'all are doing is amazing, and we thank you for that.
Well, it's great knowing that people are out there doing something with it. So anything you want to add, Jose?
We hope to continue building this network and continue to deploy it to the rest of our community. We're still in construction, right? So our project was divided into 3 sectors geographically because to help build the network quicker. And we're going to be doing this. Like I said, we just started with the home installations in our south portion of town, and hopefully once construction finishes in central and then north part of town. But our goal is to finish here very quickly, and look forward to working with everybody and being successful with everybody on the team. The concept of Team Pharr comes from an initiative that we started a few years ago through the Quality Texas Foundation. It's a nonprofit that helps organizations in private industry and public sector work on doing process improvements. And we're very excited and very happy that this year we won their Governor's Award, which is given by the governor of the state of Texas as the best organization in the state. And hopefully here, our goal is to go for the Malcolm Baldridge Award next year handed out by our president. And again, that's where that team concept where everybody works as one, and including, like I said, any partner that comes to work for us and with us, we're all in it together.
Workforce. That's such an important component with $65 billion coming down. So Jose, I didn't even tell you about it. So Texas A&M just contacted us that they have a $10 million grant for training. So Lean Six Sigma, the similar types of things that y'all are doing with the Texas Quality Foundation and the White House Baldridge effort. So now we can start spreading amongst our peers, some of the other counties, cities, some of this same type of training, not just in Lean Six Sigma, for example, but project management, OSHA, construction safety, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just such an important component that we need to be able to scale this type of endeavor across the country.
Thank you both so much for taking the time. Thank you for leading these efforts and make sure they get done. It's been wonderful having you on.
Thank you very much for having us. And again, look forward to speaking later on. And like I said, we're always available in case you ever have any questions.
Thanks, Christopher.
We have transcripts for this and other podcasts available at muninetworks.org/broadbandbits. Email us at podcast@muninetworks.org with your ideas for the show. Follow Chris on Twitter. His handle is @CommunityNets. Follow muninetworks.org stories on Twitter. The handle's @muninetworks. Subscribe to this and other podcasts from ILSR, including Building Local Power, Local Energy Rules, and the Composting for Community podcast. You can access them anywhere you get your podcasts. You can catch the latest important research from all of our initiatives if you subscribe to our monthly newsletter at ilsr.org. While you're there, please take a moment to donate. Your support in any amount keeps us going. Thank you to Arnie Hughesby for the song Warm Duck Shuffle, licensed through Creative Commons. This was the Community Broadband Bits podcast. Thanks for listening.